Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video on Spider-Man Classic, and this is focused on BGs today. So the first thing that I'll make pretty clear is I recorded all of his gameplay before the scoring changes. So just to recap on what those scoring changes are, health remaining now matters a lot more than how fast you do a fight, and to me this actually helps Spidey. It means that you can set up a bigger SP2 a little slower and not be punished for it. And in some cases it'll actually help you because you'll get more utility and a bigger damage payout because your taunts will be lasting longer. Another thing is that my Spidey is unawakened. As you're going to see, he does really well unawakened, but I really want to get mine duped. It really benefits him in BGs. Extra taunt, potency and duration, plus getting 2 stacks of those webbing debuffs is huge for him. And the last thing is that the community kind of hates the Spidey buff right now. And I'm trying to change that, but what I don't want to do is just post a bunch of super ideal matchups showing incredible, all crit SP2s, and then people in the comment section say, well, you crit, you're taking him into perfect matchups. So I'm going to do a little bit of both today. I've got a few matchups where he does crit, but most of them he doesn't. And I just want to show that he does not need to crit to be able to put out some really good damage. And as a side note, he actually has like top 10% crit rate in the game, so he is going to be critting a lot. These matches will make it seem like he doesn't crit very often, but trust me, he really will. But I've wasted enough of your time by talking, so let's get into the fights. I will explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it as we go. So we're going to start off with this Mojo fight. It's a pretty straightforward one in terms of what you need to do. In general with Spidey, what I'm aiming for is to get to about 1.9 bars of power, so just under my L2, and then I'm going to throw an L1 when they're either on 0 power or just over a bar of power, so I can bait a special out right afterwards. This is so you can keep up your webbing better and not have to bait out so many specials. Your preferred special to bait out might change on the champion you're fighting. For example, Mojo's SP1 takes up more of your webbing than his SP2, so when I can, I'll push him to L2, but I'll also just look at how much webbing I have left. So we throw L1, and then we're going to bait out this L2 afterwards. The taunts make it so easy to bait out specials. It is such a great piece of utility for Battleground consistency. So we're about to set up the big damage. What I'm trying to do is get 2 parries off and then get 2 4-hit combos in during those parries before the first round of taunts fall off, allowing us to throw an L2 with anywhere from 8 to 10 taunts. As you can see, it does a huge chunk of damage, and then the combo afterwards adds on even more, taking him all the way down. We even had more room with a striker and an L1 afterwards for the burst, so we had some pretty nice range there. So that was a rank 4 Mojo, taken down fairly easily. And next we're going to go for an Absorbing Man. So a fair bit of playing Spidey is knowing when to go for the kill, and that comes from practice and knowing his ceiling. Most of the time I do try and throw my L2 when the opponent is on close to 0 power, so that if the burst doesn't kill, then we're not pushing them to L3s. But sometimes, especially if it's a lower health opponent like Absman, he doesn't have a lot of health compared to a lot of different defenders. If you see an opportunity to go for it, then you can definitely go for the kill. So here we've got our webbing up, and Carl isn't in his physical resistance form, so he's not going to reduce the damage. I get a good reparry here without him throwing a special, so I figure I've probably gotten just about enough range. So I go for the L2, take off a big chunk of damage. Here we get awful luck with the crits during that combo, but it's just enough with an L1 to finish it off. Like I said, Spidey has a very high crit rate, so we were pretty unlucky there to not be able to crit more, but we just about finished it. So next up we're going to go for a Rintra, because going from a lower health defender to one of the highest in the game, why not? Spidey works pretty well for him. It's not a match that I would aim to be doing, but in a pinch he works. So we'll be sticking to the same plan as we usually do, get to the L1, throw it when we can hopefully bait out an L2 from Rintra, because his L1 takes up more space, so we want to watch our webbing. I'm going to be trying to push him to L2s when I can, But if he throws an L1 when we don't have webbing like he does here, then it's not too big a deal. I am going to throw my L1 here and then hold block. I don't want him throwing another L1 now because I want to push him to the L2. You can use the striker to do that, but Spidey also has just enough space to go for a double medium and then into a combo. So we'll bait out this SB2, and then afterwards we dash back and miss a reparry, which is a bit annoying. So I'm just going to heavy here because I want to take his charges down. I don't want him to go unstoppable in the corner, and then we'll go for another combo into an L2. It doesn't crit, but that's fine because we've got a lot of damage. And here I probably should have baited the L2 because we get a little lucky with the neutralized procs, but we managed to go into a double medium, don't get any neutralized, so he doesn't go unstoppable in the corner, and then go for an L2. Like I said, it would have been fine to just bait out the L2 after that, and then go back in myself for an L2. I didn't need to take that risk, but it paid off, and a 63-second takedown of Rintra is really impressive. And next up, we're going for a rank 4 Spidey Supreme, who has one of the lowest health pools in the game. And because of that, I'm not going to go for an L1 in this fight. To be honest, it probably works out about the same speed either way if you do or don't go for an L1. But I decided not to in this one. Like I said, you could go for either one. Spidey works really well for the other Spidey because he doesn't really need to use his medium attack. So you can just light attack the whole way up. As you can see, the taunts are falling off pretty fast, so the dupe really helps with that, but also going for an L1 helps as well. The last thing that I would probably say I should have done is trigger his miss counter before going for that L2. You'll see that I don't dash in and immediately do a medium, because if I had, I would have wasted that whole duration of the L2. What I should have done instead was get him to 0 power, parry, do a medium, trigger the miss, and then wait out that astral form, and then I can parry and go for an L2, dash in afterwards and do a medium. Again, it probably works out around the same time, but at least then you don't have to deal with the miss when you're in your damage phase. So we're going to move away from ideal Spidey matchups now. I want to show how much he can do in non-ideal matchups, not the mystics that we know. So we'll start off with his villain, Scorpion. This is a rank 5, so we're punching up a little bit here, and that does come into play later. So the first thing that I want to call out is that Decelerate is in some ways better than Slow, because Spidey has a 50% Decelerate on his special 1, and what Decelerate does, which is different to Slow, is that it takes a flat percentage off the chance to evade. So Scorpion's Sense gives him a 20% chance to evade. Spidey's 50% Decelerate takes all of that away and he just can't evade. It just doesn't happen. That's a really, really cool piece of utility because any evade champion that has a less than 50% chance to evade, so the Spider-Gwens, Nightcrawlers, whatever, they all just can't evade against Spidey. Here I make the first mistake that probably comes to bite me at the end of the fight, and for some reason I parry his L2. I mean, I know what the reason was. I was trying to willpower heal, but I was already on 100% health, so I really didn't need to do it. And Rai has a Sig 200 Scorpion, so any of the healing that we're denied, Scorpion gains. And that probably gives him a pretty decent chunk of health at the end and just makes it harder to burst him down. And speaking of bursting him down, we go for the L2. Again, no crit. I'm trying to show what it looks like without the crit because he doesn't rely on it at all. And then we get a couple nice crits in the combo, to be fair. And then we go into the striker, but we just don't have enough range to take him down. Even the L1 wouldn't have finished afterwards. I was hoping that Scorpion wouldn't throw his special and then we could parry and go into an L2. Having said that, like I said before, the Petrify was healing Scorpion up during that fight, and if I hadn't done that, he would definitely not have 6% remaining, and we would not be eating this L3 right now. But that would have been a 100% 60-second takedown of a rank 5 Scorpion. Next up, we're going to go for this rank 4 Terex. With the new scoring changes, I probably wouldn't go for this one unless I really, really had to, because health lost is way more important now, and it means that when we eat some of this rock field damage, it just is way more impactful than it used to be. So we wouldn't have got quite as good a score as we do now. As usual, we're just going to get to an L1 and then bait out his special. Terex doesn't move too much, so we don't have to worry about the webbing. The taunts do help in this fight, and I do have inequity, so we're going to be reducing a fair bit of the rock field damage. But what I wish I'd done is let the rock field expire now, because it means that I could have gone for another combo, got my taunts up, gone for the L2. We do crit this time, so I want to include that just to show what it looks like. But it means that we have to back off during the stun afterwards, or I would have eaten a lot of rock field damage. And unfortunately, that loses us a lot of our damage. So I definitely could have played that better, but overall, still a 70-second fight with 75% health remaining. And if I'd focused a little bit more on my health remaining by, like I said, letting that rock field before my L2 expire, meaning we could just go in for the combo afterwards, I think it would have been faster and more health. So unfortunately, I didn't play it quite well enough, but I hope you can see the potential of what could have happened in that fight. And the last fight we're going to do today is Spot. So Spot is one of those defenders where you don't particularly need a good counter for him. You need to know how to play him. Obviously not anyone could do it, but in general, most champions that you're going to be using in your BG deck can. All you want to do is make sure that you're baiting out specials and punishing him afterwards so that you remove his spots and then can keep him from going untouchable at all. Spidey really works well because the taunt lets you bait out specials whenever you need to. After you punish a special, he can't gain any more spots for a little bit. So we're going to bait out one more special here, and unfortunately my medium just whiffs. I mistimed it a little, I felt like I got it, but whatever. It means that we don't take his spots away, and it means that he can get more spots and unfortunately goes untouchable. That loses us about 8% health, and it wastes, about 5 seconds. It's substantial in BG sometimes. But we can go for a combo, we get the crit. Again, he does crit quite a bit, so don't feel like that's a rare thing that's going to happen. And the combo afterwards just destroys him. So we lost over 1,000 points there from the health lost, and probably a couple hundred from the time that was wasted from that. And we're still coming out with like 51k. Spidey is seriously good. One thing that I haven't mentioned just yet is that there is also a new relic coming out pretty much specifically for Spidey. I actually don't think I can overstate how impactful this is going to be. It's going to make him pretty much buff immune. It's going to give him way more physical vulnerability potency and debuffs. And it's going to increase his taunt duration. This is wild. Like, I really cannot wait to get my hands on one of them. And if I manage to dupe my Spidey, I will 100% be rank 2ing him. He is really good. I think I said that a few times. But overall, I hope you can see how Spidey is actually a really decent BattleGrounds champion. One thing I will say just in conclusion, don't treat him as a generalist who you're going to be able to take in for any champion. Long special animations or ways of punishing stuns / debuffs can really shut him down. But when Spidey works, he works. If you're interested in him, definitely try him out and test him against a bunch of different champions, see where he does and doesn't work. I think he works pretty well for everyone I've shown in this video. But yeah, I don't want to sit here and say that he's the best champion ever. I just think he deserves some respect for what he can do. But in any case, if you have just pulled a Spider-Man, I hope you feel a little bit better about him now. And let me know what you think of the video. I'm really enjoying doing these BG compilations, so if you like them, let me know. But in any case, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.